everyone, welcome back to Hair of the Werewolf. I'm Lily, and I have with me today...
That's right, it's Lisa!
So, basically what's happening today, this isn't a bonus episode, it's a regular episode, and unfortunately, our dear Chase cannot be here today, because that man is currently in the hospital, waiting to get his gallbladder removed.
What an attention seeker.
I mean, he really just has to, like, take the spotlight. You know, I'm like, we got to record. He's like, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. So here we are. It's going to be kind of a episode where I tell her a story, and she's going to be as hilarious as she always is and react to my amazing research skills.
Absolutely. Just you wait.
Of course. So I hope you guys enjoy this very unique but fun episode.
Ow, ow.
So is there anything you want to share with us before we begin? To put you on the spotlight, of course.
Oh, good, because I haven't had enough of that happening recently in my life.
That's right.
Yeah, and don't worry, those were also a train wreck. Here we are. Yeah, I'm excited for this. This was very unexpected. You asked me literally a few hours ago
that I did
hop on in, and at first it took me a second. I'm like, wait, what? Really? This is happening? All right, this is happening. So let's do this.
Yeah, so we were at the hospital because she came to visit Chase as well. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I can't do another week without an episode. And I started to panic, especially since I was pretty close to finishing my research. I'm like, I actually have something to present, which is like, insane. And so, I was like, please, somebody, and you came, and I'm like, right there. Yeah, that's what it is. We've done this together poorly the first time.
Oh, yeah, this is a huge upgrade.
This is a bit of an upgrade, right?
A big positive change from being underneath couch cushions in the dead of summer, just sweating. Because you could hear the AC. And we had a blanket over ourselves, because naturally... That'll block the sound out.
Oh, yes. And I, in my all wisdom, wore pants.
Yeah.
So
it was fine.
Why wouldn't I?
It was fine. Great times were had.
It was great.
And here we are in our own room.
Own little studio. Yeah, we have 4 walls this time.
Exciting.
And a ceiling. Wow.
And there's space to move.
Yeah.
And I'm not sweating. Well, not yet. We'll see what happens.
I mean, we're going to sweat anyway.
Probably. But here we are.
Yes, here we are. So here we go.
Bring it. Let's hear it.
I don't know. I'm sure you know about it. About my story for today is going to be about sleep paralysis.
Oh, talk to me.
Okay. Yes. So this is actually incredibly coincidental because I chose this topic before I knew you were going to be here, obviously. I was not anticipating Chase to end up in the hospital. Obviously, this is not planned. I mean,
as we know of for right now.
This is not the true crime show you think it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
But so just to get the people who are listening up to date about that, you actually do suffer from night terrors.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's been quite a journey because I've had night terrors ever since I was young.
Yeah.
And lots of different experiences with that. And, they all are kind of different, but they're all very similar because it's usually just involves me feeling like I can't necessarily move. And so I'm just like seeing these things that are happening. And a lot of times it's a person or some type of creature. And so I've seen grown men. I've seen big black creatures with these giant creepy hands hovering over me.
I didn't know about that one.
Oh yeah, I've seen people hanging in my room. I've seen people on the ceiling just watching me.
Oh hell no.
Yeah, I don't love it. It's not my favorite.
Sure.
But
I'm blown away. I thought it was just that that one image that you told me about in your new house because you were really stressed when you were moving, and I thought that would induce maybe a night terror, and that would be like your weird goblin Dobby creature that you described.
Oh, God,
and that was the scariest thing ever. I didn't realize that it was much, much more than that. Holy cow. This has
been most of my life here.
So this story might be a little scary, or you're just going to be like, I got this beat. I don't know. We'll see.
You're going to conjure up something for me tonight. And I'll have a new creature to add to the list.
Fun. Well, I have several here, so watch out.
Here we go.
Okay, so I got a lot of this information from a documentary called Entity, some stuff from WebMD and Scientific America, just so I can get a scientific perspective, so I understand what other people might think other than, your average person.
Yeah.
And just various personal stories that are found on the internet. So different articles. Here we go. Now, for those who might not know what sleep paralysis is, here are some common symptoms of this, which one is paralysis of the limbs, of the entire body usually, inability to speak, a sense of suffocation, hallucination, fear, panic, helplessness, and usually a tightness in the throat or chest.
Okay, so a typical weekend night for me.
I mean,
Perfect.
yeah, it just really keeps you on your toes, I think. So, again, the scientific perspective here, there's a lot of technical information that I kind of breeze through or my eyes glazed over and I just literally forgot a lot about it. But even though, I did find a really, really well-written scientific paper. It was like about 40 pages and I started reading it.
Good.
Barely understood the abstract.
Yeah,
as
naturally.
I do. And then I was like, this is too dense. I'm too dense for this dense material. So I moved on. But anyway, it's out there, guys. If you really want to know that side, you can find it.
I mean, you sold it well. I'm sure they're itching.
I
believe.
to
go search.
I believe in them. They can do it.
You can do it.
No, the easiest way I found someone putting this into terms that I understood is imagine seeing your brain as having two systems.
Okay.
The awake and the asleep. Now, when one system is turned on, it actually inhibits the other system, your other state of mind.
Okay, so they cannot be both active.
No, there's like receptors that are blocked or something. I don't know. There are things that occur that I don't know the terms to that shuts it down.
Got it.
Yes. Okay, so when, for instance, if you're asleep, obviously the awake is shut down, but sometimes it spills over or it turns itself on. Now, when that happens, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily eliminate everything that comes with sleeping. So, for example, even though you're conscious, you still have like certain things working against you. Like, you know how when you're asleep, you naturally breathe more shallow.
Yeah.
Your muscles, even if you want to take a deep breath, you wouldn't know to take a deep breath because you're in unconscious mode.
Yeah.
But if you're awake, you want to. So you trying to contract or whatever, trying to take a deep breath, your body physically won't let you. And then that makes you think that something is putting pressure on it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes. All right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So the best example I could have come up with, and I've experienced this, and I think a lot of people have, is that when you're asleep and then your arm falls asleep, and then your brain thinks you just like amputated your arm.
Oh yeah.
So you wake up in a panic and you start shaking it. You're like, no, where's my arm?
Is it there?
Yeah. And you're like, okay, so it was just falling asleep, but my brain decided, no, fuck that. You cut it off. And then that's what it was. So this is kind of the similar scenario. So your brain tries to interpret why it can't breathe, hence a goblin or something sitting on your chest.
Okay, because that's things you kind of have seen in your own life of like, okay, this creepy big creature that wants to do harm on me. Like you've seen that in movies and shows. And so your brain doesn't necessarily understand like, oh, well, I'm kind of technically, my body's choosing not to do that even though I need it to. So your brain's kind of imposing something it does understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is why we see, sleep paralysis cases all over the world and different interpretations of what that means.
Ooh, yeah. From like a cultural standpoint?
From a cultural standpoint, yes. Okay. However, there are certain images or the way it's presented that is kind of universal, which is interesting.
Okay, I'm assuming you have examples.
I do, and that's coming up.
Right.
I don't know why I do the accents.
It's coming up. Here we go.
Here we go.
Also, can I just say real quick, this chair sounds like I'm farting. I am not farting right now.
Don't lie, Lisa. I see you.
I swear.
Oh my God, I did give you the squeaky one. I didn't even know that squeaked, honestly.
It was my fate.
It's just the way it was going to.
How the cards crumble.
Especially since I don't really lean back. Why wouldn't I have it? But anyway.
Oh, God. Barely moved.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Perfect.
We're doing great.
Okay. In the documentary that I was talking about, Professor David Hufford, who teaches at Penn State, had his own sleep paralysis incident a long, long time ago, way before he started studying sleep paralysis.
Okay.
Now, he had all the telltale signs from hearing footsteps, pressure on his chest, seeing a figure standing at the foot of his bed. Something.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And he absolutely had no idea what it was at the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he traveled to Newfoundland, Canada, and learned that the old hag experience existed. So they had their own kind of interpretation of what was going on.
Okay.
So they believed it was an old hag. And then he, after hearing stories of what that meant, he was like, wait a minute, I've had that happen to me in a totally different country, different city, different time.
Right.
Why is this happening to me? I'm not even in your, culture, if you know what I mean. It's like, I'm not even interpreting that.
Yeah.
So it took a while for him to not figure it out, but realize that this is definitely around the world and it's sleep paralysis. So he finally figured out what it was. And so from that moment, he decided to dedicate his life to studying sleep paralysis from a scientific perspective. Mm-hmm. And with his 30 plus years of experience from when the documentary came out, some of the facts that I found pretty interesting that he mentioned are the following.
Lay it on me.
Get it. Now, although feeling pressure in the chest was very common, he couldn't account for those who experienced pressure in other parts of the body. Okay. So some people felt like pressure on their face or on their arms or on their legs. Yep. Mm-hmm. And we only were able to explain why perhaps the chest was because of the breathing pattern.
Right. Okay.
But why the arms? Why this? And then when you wake up, it's not like they were asleep or a book fell on them or anything. There's no interpretation. Your brain is interpreting nothing.
Right. No like logical explanation.
Exactly. Now, another inconsistent factor was that reports didn't just come as an individual experience. There were actual entire communities that claimed to have been plagued with the sleep paralysis demon or creature or something.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so the Pemba Island, located...
Ooh, that's a fun name.
Pemba, I know, I love it.
Everybody do the Pemba.
We just made up a song. So, located off the east coast of Africa, it's one example where the villagers believed that it had an entity harassing them in their sleep for over a decade.
Wow.
Now, when I first read this, I was like immediately thinking, because earlier, or in one of the scientific papers that I read, they thought maybe it could be hereditary. And I was like, okay.
Whoa.
So if this is a fairly isolated island, and with isolation that comes with a smaller gene pool in general, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, okay, hereditary, that does actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't really make sense because it's within the time frame of 10 years that it's been occurring. So unless there was some sort of crazy genetic mutation occur, it would have had to spread throughout the entire island within 10 years, which I just don't think.
Yeah.
Especially since it's adults experiencing this. Or,
right. That's what
I
was going to ask is what was the age range here?
All, basically. Okay. Just anyone. It could be...
anyone, older,
younger.
Okay.
Yep. Now, their entity in specific, it turns out, was particularly violent.
Ooh, how so?
So the villagers gave it a name. It's called the Popobawa.
Okay, excuse me, real quick. Popobawa? Popobawa. Okay. Yeah. Fun to say. Love it.
Super fun on Pemba Island, Popobawa. Which is a word in Swahili that literally translates to batwing.
Okay, I don't know if I love it as much. That kind of sounds scary.
Batwing, not so good. Popobawa, fun.
Popobawa. Ooh,
yeah.
Batwing.
It sounds like that would be the sound it would make when it attacks you. Popobawa. Just me? Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I'm going to have that in my head tonight. It's going to be the theme song of my night terrors tonight. Popobawa.
I love it. So the Pemba people, they say that the term is used to describe a shadowy figure that attacks them at night. So that's kind of just their interpretation.
Yeah.
And the creature itself is considered a cryptid and has its own separate story. So a cryptid is like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot.
Got it.
A goblin.
Blah, blah, blah. Absolutely. Got it.
So it to them, it's not necessarily sleep paralysis. It's a creature. So they actually think it's something.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, that is its own lore, and I can even do a whole entire episode separated, just dedicated to him. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details about the legend of the Popobawa.
He sounds very reminiscent of Mothman.
A little bit.
So
some of the images that I saw of him online, he is basically, imagine a winged demon with some enhanced features. Enhanced feature. I'm so glad it's not on YouTube, because otherwise you would have seen my hand gesture.
The hand gesture. It sold it.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
big pee-pee.
All right, he's a little graphic.
A little graphic. So be warned when you Google the name. Other features actually is that it comes through a wall and tends to strangle its victims.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so even if you lock the doors, it doesn't matter.
Oh, he don't care.
He don't care.
He coming.
Yes, he is, indeed.
Oh, watch yourself.
Unfortunately, many villagers have reported sexual assault.
What?
Yeah. One person even admitted finding evidence of the assault on his back.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I don't understand, dude. Like, this is creepy.
I just don't... I'm having a hard time processing.
I know. I just really...
What's happening
Really
here?
took it there. And
wow. Okay. That is so unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
Oh
yeah.
my God, how awful.
I felt so bad when I heard that guy tell a story. This was on the documentary as well.
Awful.
So bad. So as the encounters became more and more frequent and people were starting to like really freak out, obviously.
Yeah.
The villagers decided to, create a team to go and find it. Because again, they really thought it was a creature, like something coming in the night.
An entity.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And of course, they weren't able to find anything. So they took alternative measures to kind of protect themselves. So they started coming up with like trinkets and other things. And one in particular, they carry pages of the Quran that have been sewn inside a small pouch that they carry all the time.
Is there a significance to the pouch?
I don't know. It's just an easier form to carry.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think it's blessed kind of thing. So
okay.
And from what I understand, they interviewed another guy. I don't know about the whole mentality of the village for it, but this one guy in particular did believe it because he said as soon as he started wearing it, it stopped. So here we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
So is it a mentality thing? Like, are they
Is it like
feeling more secure?
manifestation where you feel protected?
And they truly believe that, so they're no longer having these nightmares of something happening.
Yeah, your brain is now telling you, like, you are safe, you are secure, and so it doesn't feel the need to, I don't know, whatever the brain...
be triggered in any way.
Right, whatever the brain does when these things happen.
Whatever it's doing, it's doing it. And that's and he was able to control it with whatever he needed to believe.
Yeah.
Or it works.
Or it just works.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Where are we? I don't know.
Maybe it just works.
Exactly. Now, here are some personal stories I was able to find.
Ooh.
Jamie Jackson, at age 32, when she appeared on the documentary Entity, so that's where I got that story, said that she had been experiencing sleep paralysis all her life, starting from the age of 5.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's rough.
I know. On her first experience, she remembered being in her bed and she could hear the TV, her parents talking, just like a normal night. Then, when she looked around the bedroom, she could see a couple that appeared in very dark, shadowy kind of way in the corner of her room. One she could tell was kind of a man, and the other one was like a woman. Then the couple began to walk slowly towards her.
Nope.
Yep. And she wanted to scream.
Naturally.
But she couldn't. She couldn't get up. She couldn't do anything. But luckily, her mother did walk into her room moments later after seeing it, and she saw her mom walk through the couple.
Wow.
Yeah. But she didn't even, no acknowledgement.
Oh, I got chill bumps.
And then, and so the mom is walking towards her. She sees her, still sees a couple in the back, and then they eventually disappear. What? Yeah. And she's like, she finally is able to like kind of flail her arms. And say,
yeah.
Did you see that? She's screaming and crying.
Yeah.
And the mom, of course, being a mom, just says, "Don't worry, you were just dreaming."
Okay.
Yeah.
Mom. All right.
But she might not be wrong.
Right.
But it's not like it wasn't traumatizing.
Right.
So,
seeing that at that age.
Yeah. For the first time. About 5 years old. Exactly. Now, as Jamie got older, it seemed that her dreams got more vivid and physical.
Even more?
Even more. In fact, by this point, every time she had a sleep paralysis episode, it always turned violent.
No.
Yeah. When she woke up, or when she would wake up, she will see the shadow man approach her and often put his arms around her neck.
No.
She mentions more than a few times that she thought he was going to either break her neck or choke her to death.
Oh my God.
That's how harsh it was. And she truly did believe that she was going to die.
Well, yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the first thing.
Okay, this terrifying thing is choking me.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep,
I would think that too.
The woman is usually there as well. Jamie describes her as being very short, draped in many, many layers, like in rag clothing.
So like I'm picturing like toga-esque.
So a lot of stuff. So she said even she visualizes, or she can see that the old woman is like wearing her purse, her shawl, her hat, her like
just a ton
like
of items.
tons of crap. It kind of reminded me. Do you remember of the junk lady in Labyrinth?
Love the junk lady and her like cuckoo self.
The first thing that came into my mind when I said,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, and she's just adding stuff to Sarah's back. But yeah, so this is who she is here. Sarah. But a lot more violent, unfortunately. Now, the old woman in Jamie's life is, like I said, more sinister, and she would actually climb on top of her and sit on her chest.
What? Like while she's being choked, or?
Sometimes. So usually either the man is choking her.
Yeah.
And then she will climb and then sit on her chest. So she's actually suffocating at this point.
God.
Sometimes the man is behind her holding her arms down so that the old woman can climb on her. So it's just it's like a team effort to get just Sarah to...
It just feels so evil.
It sounds so evil.
So sinister and just... Why that? Why not? Like, why can't they just bring some ice cream? Like, so, Jamie, how's your day?
I mean, I wouldn't mind some money either, Whatever you got.
I will take $1 bill over being choked and sat on.
I will pay $1.
I will pay
to not
$1
if you leave me the F
for
alone.
this to not happen.
Exactly. Every night, I say. So Jamie actually truly believes that these experiences are real. So when she was interviewed, I know a lot of people think, oh, this really feels like it's real, blah, blah, blah. But she actually thinks it's real. She doesn't think, I don't think she thinks it's sleep paralysis. It's not scientific.
It's a real event.
Yeah, she's like, something is coming into my room.
Yeah.
And this is happening.
Like these things actually exist in whatever form they are.
Right.
Okay.
And usually, unfortunately, so, in my head, I'm like, okay, there's choking, there's all these physical acts that are being happening to her. So is there any evidence of anything?
Ooh, yeah.
Unfortunately, the only evidence that is ever there when she wakes up is the things that she has done. So like if she digs her nails in the board, then her nails will be like cracked or
so
almost like the self-harm stuff, I guess.
Right. So her own actions, there's obviously evidence.
Exactly.
But these creatures, entities, whatever they may be, whatever they're doing, like the choking, there's nothing around her neck.
Right. She doesn't have any bruising. And, nowhere at any point during her interview did she mention bruising of that kind. So I'm guessing it doesn't occur.
Probably, yeah.
And usually she can see her husband because she's married and she sees her husband next to her and everything. And he doesn't seem to be reactive either. So it's not like he can see it or feel it or anything like that.
Okay.
So again, I don't know what's happening here.
Right. Well, and that's the thing you have to think about. Like the brain is such a powerful thing, and it has the capability to do these things, and it does these things. But also, there's a lot of things in our world that are unexplained.
Exactly.
And it's.
I mean, we made a whole show about it. So.
I mean, hello and welcome.
Welcome to my paranormal show. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. I mean, they're just forces in any direction, and anything is possible. So obviously, because of these awful events that have been taking place in her life since she was 5, she has
such a long time.
She has unfortunately contemplated suicide. There's been super low points in her life because of this. And she's expressed just how tired she is of these creatures every night. every night.
When you're getting no sleep or you're getting very limited sleep and disrupted sleep, and and it's stressful things that are happening, whether
not
it's
wanting to sleep, all these like anxieties. I have anxiety when I go to bed, but it's just because, I don't know, my brain is crazy too.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as like what she's going through, but you know, like I'm falling asleep on the couch and then I go to bed and I'm like, I need to do things and there's nothing to do.
Right.
So yeah, that's just super, super minor in comparison. And I can't imagine what she's going through.
That is, it makes for also, I feel like, a challenging upbringing. Well, maybe upbringing's not the right word, but childhood in the sense of, you know, you're possibly afraid to go to sleep because of what's happening. Right. And then you're just like a zombie during the day.
I don't even know how she functions. I don't know. They didn't mention her job or anything. I'm assuming she's, you know, functioning in some capacity anyway. Yeah. But, you know, because you have to.
Well, humans, we adapt.
We do.
Figure it out.
There's demon creatures in my life. Let's do it. Gotta go to work.
Right. You know? I still gotta exist.
I still gotta do my things. Yeah, I still gotta do the laundry.
Right.
You know, whatever.
I mean, it'd be nice if they offer to do the laundry.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Literally 2 of them.
Yeah. I mean, pay rent.
They could provide some services.
Yeah, if they're going to hang out with me at night, they might as well pay rent.
Right.
Like, you know, no one invited you.
If you're going to haunt me at night, okay, fine, sure.
Yeah.
But could you do the dishes?
Yeah, do something.
Morning sweep.
Yeah, sweep.
Vacuum. I don't know, anything.
I'd appreciate it if they did the bathrooms. I hate doing that. That's the number one.
Especially cleaning the grout.
That's what it is.
You've avoided it for so long because you know how much of a pain it is.
It's just like awkward positions and you're just kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's because I have bad knees and I just keep thinking, like in my head, I don't want to bend down. So it's mostly just because of my crippling body, but yeah.
Yeah, I get
it. Perfect.
Well, considering I'm the one who had hip surgery.
Oh, yeah, right.
I get it.
Oh my God, poor you. I seriously can't. That sucks.
No, poor Jamie.
Poor Jamie.
Oh,
that's who's really who's
Jamie,
the real victim.
Here's to you.
Here's to you. Oh, by the way, y'all, we are drinking some wine.
Clink.
Oh, you know what? Let's do
it. Refreshing.
Put some hair on your chest there. All right. Now, the next story I have is of Mark Gilland from Glasgow, Scotland.
Oh, you know, I gotta say, we're gonna sidestep for 2 seconds.
Let's do it.
You know, as our listeners, I'm sure know by now, we traveled to Scotland together, and we went to Edinburgh, and we were supposed to go to Aberdeen, and Inverness, and we were supposed to go to Glasgow, and we didn't.
Well, our time was just so tied up.
It was, but I have to say, I really want to go to Glasgow.
I really want to go there too.
Gotta make it happen.
It's a lot shorter trip too. So from where we were, anyway.
Yeah,
from Manchester, right? I don't even remember.
I mean, it's all a blur at this point.
It's a blur. There's accents.
I mean, we've had a pandemic and
all those experiences basically got wiped. I just barely remember any of it.
Yeah, everything pre-pandemic. I'm like, it's a dream.
Yeah.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Glasgow.
Let's
hear it.
Okay, here we go. So Mark had experienced sleep paralysis since he was 17 years old at his old house, I guess, when he lived with his parents.
Okay.
And at the time when he was interviewed, he was 33. So I think the documentary that I was watching was from the early 2000s. So he's at least 20 years older at this point.
Yeah.
So let's face it. It's been that long. And it all started when he woke up feeling like there was someone in the room.
Okay, so just like feeling a presence.
Yeah, that's why he woke up.
Yeah.
And he looked around and he immediately realized that he was paralyzed. That was the first thing.
No.
Yes. And to him, weird, but it's just how he felt about the situation, that he didn't feel like he lost control. It felt, well, yes and no. He felt more like something was controlling him. How he was able to interpret something like that, I'm not sure.
As that was he was an avatar for somebody else, or somebody had just hopped into his body and was taking over.
Let's just say, you know how like in some alien abductions, people get paralyzed and but that's because the aliens are paralyzing them, kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like sedated in a way so that they can like poke them.
24 hours ago, I wanna be sedated.
I'm keeping that.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that's totally the correct
lyrics.
Well, lyrics and the correct note. So
I think it sounded great.
If I butchered it, you listen. I'm freestyling, so back off.
She's got a mic in her face, and this is what happens.
What do you expect from me? Come on.
Natural. All right. So Mark, where are we? Oh yes. So he loses control of his body. But except this time, you know how usually, I think the other story that I was talking about, usually you're on your back.
Yeah.
You're lying on your back.
That's what I assumed.
That's the typical, to be honest, the typical like form, I guess.
Yeah.
But for Mark, he was actually on his stomach.
Oh.
Yes.
Doesn't sound comfortable.
I'm not really a stomach sleeper, to be honest.
No.
Cider, I'm actually a back sleeper too, so.
I'm a side or a back. The stomach just feels like I'm suffocating.
Well, for me, it's the boobs, you know.
Okay,
it's just a lot of pressure.
I don't have that problem.
But either way, the stomach, the pressure is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. See, for me, it's my...
The pushback.
The pushback. For me, it's the head. I'm in my face. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Get a crick in my neck if I just
exactly, and I can't. Or I can. It's just not comfortable to like lay on the side of your face. Anyways, that was way too many details.
Now we know how you sleep, Lisa.
Ooh. Exciting stuff.
Seductive of you to share.
Yes.
My crick in my neck.
My crick in my neck.
Oh, God. This is going to be a great episode, guys.
Please keep all of this.
You know, we've only had not even a full glass of wine. So,
this is just first of all, how dare you call us out on that?
I mean, we're super wasted. That explains our behavior.
I don't love that either. Second of all, you're not wrong. This is us.
This is just us.
in general.
That's basically.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, God. Okay. Where are we?
Do a little sippy sip.
A little sippy sip. Okay, so so he's lying on his stomach.
Yep.
And he all of a sudden feels that something is climbing on his back. He feels like a pressure.
Oh.
Yeah, so he feels first the hands, and he says that he believes it was like a man just based on the body weight, the size of the hand, so it's like a larger person. Just naturally, I think that was just what his brain was going. And even though he couldn't see anything, so he still can't see, he can't really move his head because he's kind of, like I said, paralyzed.
Yep.
And this is where things get really upsetting, in my opinion, because what happens next is quite graphic. But the entity continues to violently assault him.
No.
If you kind of know what I mean.
No, I don't want to know what you mean.
I know. And if you don't know, well then, happy thoughts.
Yeah, don't Google it.
He pinches him.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Tickle fights.
Tickle fights.
Oh,
so another one of those assaults.
Oh my God, that is just it's one of those things when you think about sleep paralysis or even hauntings, that doesn't, I don't know, for me at least, doesn't ever come into my wheelhouse.
I usually don't. Right, same. I usually don't think of that.
Kind of interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is wild. This is very unexpected.
This is quite unexpected. I was not expecting this much activity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened, unfortunately, to him. And when the entity was finally done and got off his back, Mark, he could finally feel that paralysis fading away.
Okay.
But even though he couldn't see anything still, so he was able to turn around, like, where is he? Like, what's going on? Yep. He immediately kind of looks in the corner and just feels that someone is there still. Oh. Like, he could feel like an energy is how he described it. And he could actually hear the floor creaking in the corner.
Nope.
Like someone is standing there.
No, absolutely not.
So that, unless it's another hallucination, but he's no longer paralyzed. So it's...
Oh yeah, that's true.
So he's not even in sleep paralysis form anymore. He is awake is my assumption. Yeah. I don't know how far the hallucinations can go, too.
Oh, that's true. Like kind of like I'm thinking like an aftershock almost.
Yeah.
It's like another one, essentially.
Right.
And your brain's still kind of like, where am I? What's happening? Like waking up.
Right.
Was it actually something there?
Or something. Yeah, I mean, either way, the event was so traumatic for him that even if he was a skeptic or whatever, it was truly traumatizing, and it affected other parts of his life, unfortunately, like his relationships with because he's married, I believe, and that kind of put a strain on the situation, you know, because he's been dealing with this, you know, basically is like if he went through the real thing.
God, yeah.
You know? Now, here's a creepy detail. So at this point of the story, I'm thinking, oh, I guess it can still be a hallucination. You know, I don't know, but, you know, whatever it is, I still believe that it is traumatizing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for the creepy detail that he followed within his story is that now a couple of years before the incident happened to Mark, Mark's brother actually occupied that same room.
Okay.
So when Mark decided to share his experience to his brother, he revealed that he had a similar experience as well. So his brother told him, "Oh my God, me too," years before you moved in there.
Well, no.
Yeah, but but he never shared it with his younger brother, Mark.
So they both like essentially shared at the same time.
Yeah. So when his brother was in there years before Mark's experience, he had the experience. And then when Mark had his, he told his brother, and then his brother's like, "Oh my gosh."
Like, how do you explain that?
Exactly. So you can be like, "Oh, well, hereditary." But then why trigger it in this room?
Yeah, why in the room? Why such a, like, how... So the hereditary piece of it, I can definitely understand and, like, see that kind of take on it. But with such a close, similar experience...
Exactly.
What are the chances?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man, got those chill bumps again.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Super creepy. Yeah, when I okay, so at the beginning, you know, you're like, oh, it's kind of got this like element where it could be either one.
Right, exactly.
Whatever, still kind of, it makes you doubt it a little bit.
There's many possibilities.
But then he like threw this curveball where I'm like, I feel like this is something else. I don't know. It
has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Super weird.
Because it'd be one thing because I had thought you were going the direction of Mark told his brother about that experience, and then his brother had his own experience. And then it's like, okay, how much of that was his brain?
Like he transferred that information over?
Yeah, and his brain absorbed that, and then that had an influence.
It had already happened before and never shared it with Mark, so he didn't know either. Yeah, very strange.
Oh my god!
Especially since the form it happened, the way it happened is similar. Right. It's not like he had his own thing.
Did Mark's brother? I don't know if this specific of a detail was talked about. Did Mark's brother hear? So after it happened, did he still also feel the energy in the corner, and did he hear the creaks in the floor? So
that wasn't expressed. He didn't mention that. Okay. If it did. All he said was that his brother was willing to talk about some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah.
Which is actually a very common thing for people who go through sleep paralysis because they believe that the more they talk about it, the more likely it is to have another night terror.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, your brain...
Because either if it is psychological, then it's because your brain is activating and it's just going to remember it. Or two, you're kind of conjuring it up if you believe you're kind of fucked either way. Right. Let's face it. Like, is what I'm saying.
Just sit in silence. And best of luck to you.
Exactly. Good luck.
God.
Yeah. So with that said, I am going to take a little break. Ooh. This is actually quite the length of the episode before we take breaks. Usually we do it at 30 minutes, but... That's all right, because I need another glass of wine.
Ooh, me too, girl. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're back. We have our ammunition.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's take a sip. Cheers.
Cheers. Dun, dun, dun. Clink. Oh, yeah, that hits the spot.
I feel like that's just tradition. You have to do that every time now.
I mean, at this rate. I need some kind of tagline or catchphrase.
What a beautiful term.
That hits the spot.
Without context, I mean, really, that could be for anything.
I mean, I think it's pretty applicable.
Yeah.
That seems weird.
Feel free to use it, you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
In that tone and everything. You'll get a reaction every time.
You will. I don't know what kind, but you'll get something.
Yeah, stand out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so back to the story.
Here we go.
Sleep paralysis. Here we come. Now, the next person I'm going to be talking about is Ted Filippone, I think is his name.
Okay.
Now, some people have alternative ways of dealing with sleep paralysis. So I've talked about a lot in like kind of a scientific kind of way.
Yeah.
But I also talked about the people on Pemba Island.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Pemba. And they have their own like, you know, obviously ways of doing it because they had like that pouch with the Quran papers and whatever.
Yeah,
scripture.
Truly whatever works.
Whatever works, man. At this point, yes. And so unfortunately, that's not as easy or rather as accepting in Western civilizations like ourselves here in the States. We tend to be like, no, that's not paranormal. That's dust. And you're like, or something. I don't know.
I love that's your go-to. That's not paranormal. It's dust. Oh, okay.
Okay, sure.
I thought it was the Sandman. It's just dust.
Thank you for your scientific explanation.
Okay.
Oh my. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. You know, there's like a huge resistance.
Yeah.
But there are still people out there who not only believe but are willing to help within their own capacity.
Yeah.
In kind of a paranormally kind of way. Now, so in Ted Filippone's case, he had been suffering attacks every night since he was a child. And so this, at the time, he was 25, which probably puts him more in his 40s nowadays. But
that's right, because this was back in the 2000s.
Back in the 2000s. I think it was like 2002, 2005. I can't remember when this came out exactly, but...
I barely remember those years.
I know. Where was I in 2002, 002. Oh my gosh. Here we go. You're old.
Your mom's old.
Your mom's old. Oh my God. So
we are old.
I'm cutting that out. Just kidding.
We're youthful forever.
Yes, I'm still young. Forever young.
Forever young. I wanna be forever young.
All right.
I don't remember. I don't know any of the other lyrics, but
now that we got that out of our system,
anyways, we're focused. Here we go.
We are so focused. Look at my focus. Okay. So Teddy boy, he sees a black mist form all around him while he's having sleep paralysis. So it's kind of, this is different.
What? So he's like in bed, just chilling, and then he can't move. And there's black mist.
Like trying to take some sort of form, but never quite gets there.
What?
Yeah, so it's really strange. And as this is happening, the entity, again, is very violent. He'll end up getting hit or choked. So those are some by the black mist. So like it'll be on his body doing these things. So that's what I mean. Like there's some form. So like if it's holding down his arm, there's more mist around it, but there's not a specific arm, like hand details, if that makes sense.
This reminds me of that Doctor Who episode.
Which one?
Silence in the Library.
Oh, the shadows that lived in the trees.
I can't remember what the creatures were
called. Oh my God.
That were in the shadows.
And it was even kind of a cool name, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which doesn't help us right now.
Not even a little bit.
Because I cannot conjure up any idea of what they're called.
It's like Noctura something.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm just going to go with...
We're going to go with...
Pretending like I know Latin. Noctura...
Gnats.
Batata. That word
yeah,
I made
we're
up.
on the same page. Yeah. Yeah, so it reminds me of that.
There we go. Yes. Oh, who turned out the lights? Remember?
Who turned out the lights?
I just love that
it's
part.
Not funny, you guys.
Aw. I always felt bad when someone dies in Doctor Who. Once I start liking someone, I'm like, what? Just got rid of that person?
Wow, the Doctor takes it so hard, too.
I know. Although sometimes I feel like he's not as, like, invested. He's like, that's just the way it is, and then, like, keeps running.
For Tennant, yes.
I guess I would say for Tennant. I was just
Smith.
I think when I was picturing it, it was Tennant.
Well, because that episode was Tennant.
It was.
So yes, you're yes.
Unless he makes some sort of connection, he's like not going to worry about it.
Oh, totally.
It's like more self-preservation.
Yeah, and he compartmentalizes.
He does. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, this is not a Doctor Who podcast.
Not even a little bit. We would be terrible at that as well. So
absolutely, because we couldn't even freaking remember the name of. Anyways.
Yes. So sort of like that.
Cool.
But instead of consuming and turning them into skeletons, you get hit. So that's what's happening to Ted, unfortunately. And this happens to him. I'm not sure if it's every single night, but it is frequent enough to where it affects his actual life. He says that he can't even hold down a job.
Oh, no.
It's that bad. Yeah. And he eventually went and got help from Father Pat Maloney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he ended up also living in the church's hostel, like living quarters or whatever. So that's where he actually lived, or at the time of the documentary.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And so that he can just get help and just try to feel safe and anything that might help.
Anything at that point.
Mm-hmm. Now, to help Ted, also another person was demonologist Lou Gentile. I'm not sure how you say his last name.
Ooh, I mean, that's kind of a fun last name. Oh, Mr. Gentle.
Gentle.
Be gentle with me.
Yeah. And the entity's like, no, bitch. Despite your title. Yeah, so he was asked to come help Ted and also to determine whether his episodes are psychological or paranormal. After questioning Ted for 2 hours,
wow,
Lou decided to proceed with his investigation by recording his sleep process, like just to see how he is, right?
Okay, so he wanted to like just record him sleeping?
Just sleeping, just to see if they can capture anything or anything, literally anything.
Yeah.
And I guess after the 2 hours, usually he says I can find out whether or not it's psychological or paranormal or something, but his was so like wishy-washy and usually is with sleep paralysis. Yeah. So it's a little different situation than just your average possession or hallucinations or schizophrenia or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Run of the mill.
Right. Your run of the mill possessions. Okay. So this is what happened. Before I go into what Lou said, I forgot to mention when Father Maloney first met Ted.
Yeah.
He said that he was surprised that as soon as he got close to Ted, he felt some sort of vibration.
What?
Like some sort of weird energy vibration from him. Now, it wasn't malevolent, he said.
Okay.
So he didn't feel threatened or anything.
I mean, I guess that's something.
But in fact, he kind of interpreted it to be like it was more him, like Ted, being some sort of energy source for these things to come to him.
Like a vessel?
Like almost like a vessel, like a beacon, like something, or not a portal, but like something that they can manifest through and hurt him. Or an energy around him that they can't quite pinpoint. And that's why other things are able to like manifest on him. I don't know. It was just
That's very interesting.
It was from Father Maloney's like perspective of how he felt about the situation.
And this was before, I don't know if you know this, but was it before Father Maloney knew anything about Ted?
No, so he did know already. Because Ted came to him and said, please, I need help. And then, immediately he was like, okay, you can say, but the entire time he's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Father Ted felt. Now back to Lou, the demonologist.
Yes.
Okay, so after the 2-hour question process, was going to record him sleeping.
Yep.
And at one point in the video, Ted's leg actually kind of looks like it's being pulled down. It could be interpreted like he kind of just straightened his leg, but he kind of made it kind of look like a pull too. So it's kind of weird to explain it.
Okay. Like, did the rest of his body move, or did it look like somebody just pulled just the leg?
Just the leg,
moved?
But it didn't have enough force to maybe pull his body.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a little.
So it could have been a leg twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been him stretching.
Yes.
It could have been a creepy demon mist pulling his leg.
All the above.
Got it.
And so when asked what Ted thought, because he woke up, you see in the video, he kind of like jolt up, and he said he felt it being pulled. Like that wasn't him.
Okay.
So he felt something on his leg and then yank.
I feel like honestly, I don't know, it might not have a hand.
Some sort of grip.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Grip.
Exactly. So then, what's his face? Lou, he was like, okay, well, in that case, I guess if something is here, let me do an EVP session.
Yeah, you might as well.
Right. And so they began recording at 2:45 a.m. is when this kind of occurred.
Ooh.
Yeah, closer to 3.
Hello.
Hello, demon.
Yeah, you do.
Hey. Now, after each question asked, there was a strange electronic distortion. So when they were asking, they didn't hear anything. Like, they were just like, no one's here, or at the very least, we can't hear it with our own ears.
No response.
Right. So when they played back the recording, they heard some sort of distortion. Like I said, almost like it sounded like someone is trying to talk through, but it still sounds very electronical, like very, like you can hear the inflections.
Yes.
But it's not coming in clear.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Then Lou says, quote, "Please release whatever has been performed on Ted. I ask in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior," end quote. When he's done saying this, the recorder picked up a distorted voice that screamed in a disapproving kind of way. It almost growled scream.
Oh, it was not happy.
It was not. I heard it twice, and I think I was done. Oh, it kind of freaked me out. Well, because I was like, it's almost like you can't look away. So I had to I was like, ooh, let's do that one more time.
One more.
And then I did, and I was like, and I regret this.
Oh my God.
It was creepy, dude. It really was.
I just screams in general are never
never good.
Well, sometimes they're good.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So we got those, right? Those aside, they're never good. It's either somebody screaming in pain,
right,
screaming for help, or screaming in rage, which is just it's
also intense.
Comes
and
from such a deep place inside, and it's terrifying.
It's super terrifying, and especially when you couldn't hear it, and then it comes out.
But then you hear it on a recording.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Now, the people doing this documentary actually took this recording, because they were also like, what the F?
Yeah.
And sent it to forensic experts.
Okay.
To be analyzed. Which is awesome.
Forensic experts. Wow. Okay.
To see what could have been happening. What are the theories on how something like this could have come about, out of nothing.
Okay. Got it.
Now, they said that the only way the sound could have occurred or been created is if it rubbed two microphones together, which didn't happen.
Oh, so the screaming frequency, the screaming sound that they heard,
that kind of pitch and whatever could have been caused by this other thing.
Okay, but they obviously were not doing that.
It was not happening.
Okay.
Or through a remote receiver, which was confirmed by the film crew that neither occurred. Okay. So the documentary, because they're not necessarily partial to the paranormal. I mean, I know it's a documentary and they want to perhaps sensationalize, but they're also there to be like, we're here to just a good documentarist. What is the term? Documentist. A documentary person.
Somebody who documents.
A documenter.
Wait, now I'm thinking about it.
I just screwed everyone up already. I
knew the word, and now I heard all those variations. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I don't know the word.
A documentista.
Ooh, let's go with that.
I like that one.
So this documentista.
So they're very serious about it, and they weren't just gonna mess around, which is why they sent it to a forensic analyst. Yeah. Now that's kind of weird to me, right? They couldn't really figure it out, and the forensic person was like, "This is probably what happened."
Yeah.
And the film crew's like, "Well, we're techs, we're setting up the equipment as well, and nothing like that happened." So interesting, right? Very interesting. Oh, as I hold my glass of wine,
let me sip on my wine while I ponder this. Oh, it hits the spot.
That's Lisa.
I
just drooled.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, it's been a long.
Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. Choo choo, buckle up. Chugga 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 chugga.
Oh. A combination of just delirium and tiredness and a little bit of wine.
What? It is definitely not the wine.
It's not the wine.
Stop it. You're being silly.
Per usual. Okay. Yeah, so where the hell was I?
I know we had a long tangent about what a
forensic-
documentary filmmaker, what their name is.
What their title is.
So documentalista.
is
Got
what
it.
we went with.
Love it. Easy to say.
Super easy to
Rolls
remember.
off the tongue.
Okay. That's been not debunked. So here we go. There's still kind of the paranormal aspect here. And I think that's basically kind of where it ended with his story.
Yeah.
Is basically, you know, his process. And then at the end, Lou, he says, unfortunately, the only way to kind of get rid of whatever it is, because he actually believes it is some sort of force. It's not in his head. It's not like whatever, sleep paralysis. It's something else. And he needs to have more faith. He needs to like really dedicate himself in his soul, because I guess he had like a, I can't remember because I didn't write this down, because obviously why would I do that? But what I'm recalling is I believe he had like a troubled childhood, and a lot of that trauma kind of makes him vulnerable perhaps to like let just evil or bad or whatever. His heart isn't full. I can't remember how he described it, but it's something very similar to that. And so the only way for him to kind of get rid of it is to be super devoted to the church, and I guess that's it, and eventually it'll go away. I don't know. There wasn't a follow-up video.
I was going to say, was there any kind of follow-up?
Maybe there is. I should have looked. I didn't even think to do that at the time. I was just like, oh, well, you know, like, or something. But I'm sure there might be. That would be great to find out. Maybe I'll say that in the next episode.
Ooh, part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Oh my gosh, we're like, shut up.
You know what? I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not.
You know, I'm having a good time.
I'm having a fabulous
tears
time.
rolling, drool spilling. You know, I'm a hot mess.
You were doing great.
Thank you. Oh my. Okay, so I have another story.
What? Another one?
Another.
Let's do it.
Now, most of the time, these incidents were perceived as outside entities, like we've talked about, coming to attack a person. However, in rare incidents, the person feels like the entity is coming from within, like they're possessed. Yes, a bit of a twist here. So genuine, you're shocked. Oh my gosh. So in the case of the person I'm talking about is Cody McKee. Cody. Hi.
Hello.
I feel really bad for you because right now.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Oh. Hold on. I got to drink a little bit more.
Okay. Let's take a moment.
We just got to.
And just kind of. All right. So in the case of Cody McKee, he believed that he was being possessed by an evil force. But unlike other possession cases, he only seems to appear when he's asleep. So most possession scenarios that I've talked about in the show as well, it happens anytime. Like it's just day,
nothing
night,
specific.
Maybe there's a trigger time like 3 a.m., midnight kind of thing. But otherwise, possession is a possession. It's a full-time job. Yeah. With him, it only happens while he's sleeping, which is why it's kind of associated with sleep paralysis, or at least the sleeping process.
Right.
For scientists in any case. So Cody would scream, punch holes in the wall.
Whoa.
And in one other extreme incident, he jumped out the window from his bedroom.
Yeah. Jumped out of the window?
His wife said that it looked like someone pushed him out the window.
Oh my God.
Like lifted him, kind of like flung him.
Lifted him?
Yeah, so that was her perspective. He was, of course, unconscious. Yeah. Like he never remembers any of this. Ever.
Lifted him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Which, I mean, impressive if it was, I guess. It was just him, but
that's dedication. But who would do that?
Yeah.
And I think I didn't write this down, but I think in the documentary it said that he required like 70 stitches or something like that.
70 stitches?
Yeah, it's like a lot, right?
Oh
like that's
God,
a lot.
This is like serious,
pretty intense. Yeah. And so when he woke up because he actually woke up finally when he hit the ground. He didn't, not before.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing he woke up.
Yeah, at some point he did. And he said that he remembered seeing that he was outside on the lawn and heard a voice say, "See you later, Cody." Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I felt a chill go through my body.
It's so messed up.
What?
Yeah. And, at this point he was fully awake. He was just, at the very least trying to get his bearings. Like, where is he? Like, why does everything hurt? And then to hear that out of nowhere.
Something about that. Like, chill bumps again, but I'm feeling it up my neck. Whew, that's just
good. It's not just because it's hot in here.
I mean, it is a little hot.
It gets hot in this room.
Hot, but that's so just chilling to the bone.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Indeed.
Okay.
Now, his poor wife also had to suffer through some of these episodes, but one of the more impactful nights, I guess, was when Cody got up. He began swinging his arms like he usually does. He usually ends up hurting only himself, or a wall next to him, or something like that. But I guess he was actually more particularly active, and accidentally. I mean, he obviously didn't intend to, but he broke her nose.
Broke her nose?
Yeah, like
I thought you were gonna say slapped her or something.
Straight up, super hard punch her in the face, and the bone is protruding, it broke her skin and everything. Yeah.
So that's so sad.
It's very sad. So now they don't even sleep in the same room.
Oh,
she even locks the door just in case. She's not afraid of him in a traditional abusive husband kind of way. Like, she's genuinely just upset and scared. You don't know what his episode's going to be like, and he's hurting himself this much. Who knows who could be in the way?
What else could happen?
Exactly. So that happened, and aside from obviously having to go to the hospital when he hurts himself, the couple was unable to afford other professional help. So they had to pay for obviously the hospital bills when he had to get the stitches, or when he punches a hole, maybe he needs something for his hand.
Well, yeah, that can be hard on the hand,
which is expensive, and they are not rich, like most.
Well, and we've all have experienced
and in the United States,
healthcare in this country,
it's very hard on the wallet. So they can't just pay out of pocket to seek professional help, and that's just their status at this point.
Which is, I know why we need to fund mental health resources.
At the very least. Yeah.
Very least. Come on.
So the documentistas, very fortunately, provided these resources for them.
Oh,
yeah,
that's amazing.
So at the very least, he was able to go to the doctor or to a specialist.
Yes,
to monitor. They hooked him up, brain all over the place.
Yes,
to see what his activity is like. Okay,
yeah.
So he's actually was able to get help. So during the sleep study, there was a few things that happened. Now, while they were monitoring the first night, Cody is seen on the video opening his eyes in terror.
Oh.
Like they're wide open, really crazy, looking around the room. At this exact time, doctors are like, oh, something is happening. Let's look at the monitor, see what's happening.
See what's going on.
Well, it's nothing. The monitors are reading that he's in a deep sleep.
No.
And not dreaming.
What? He's not even dreaming?
No, there's no dream activity at all.
What?
He is in a different stage. So there's different stages. And he's in the one that's basically just shut down. Nothing, no activity. Just basic bodily functions, of course.
Right.
But in normal brain activity, we never stop, I guess. But in essence, there was no other abnormalities.
So in a typical scenario that you see when somebody has a response like that,
he would be hallucinating, he'd be dreaming.
Exactly, it correlates to,
because isn't that what they've been saying this whole time? Saying if you're having sleep paralysis, it means you're dreaming and you're confusing the reality.
Exactly,
he's not even dreaming,
and it's not even showing up as him dreaming.
Right? Exactly.
How do you explain this?
Exactly. Thank you. My thoughts exactly. So he is very much unconscious, and but his eyes are going wild. He's just looking around and just really scared looking. So the rest of the study, Cody gets up and starts to act violently. So I think this is the next day. They talk about it a little bit, very briefly.
Okay.
But they say kind of more or less the same thing. The monitors read that he was in a deep sleep state.
Okay, so this is a different night from when his eyes opened up.
Yes.
And he looked
so now
terrified.
He's actually kind of moving around.
Okay.
And nothing has really changed as far as the data they were able to collect.
So showing the same thing. Deep sleep.
Yeah.
Not dreaming.
Exactly. And from what the doctor was trying to talk when he was being interviewed, he said that these types of cases are pretty rare, but they believe that he is suffering from an extreme case of sleepwalking. So now that they're not even saying sleep paralysis.
Sleepwalking.
Yeah. So it's very different, but the same, because like with sleepwalkers, I thought they didn't even remember it. Right? Am I wrong?
I have a friend who has sleepwalked.
Sleepwalked?
Well, that's embarrassing.
Sleepy walkie.
And he doesn't really always remember it.
Okay.
And some of the things that he does, it's like, oh, you definitely, I feel like, wouldn't do that normally.
Right.
And so, but he doesn't know what's happening because he's asleep.
Right.
And he does get up and he moves around. This is
interesting because
interesting how it's shifting from sleep paralysis of you can't move at all to
his body moving too much and then him still not having control.
Right.
So he, like I said, I'm maybe his perspective has changed and he believes more scientifically because now he's be able to get help. You sometimes don't know when you don't know.
Right.
And,
exactly.
And it wasn't until someone explains it to you. So I don't know what he actually thinks is happening, but at the time he's like, I must be possessed. Like, why would I hit my wife? Why would I throw my body out a window?
Oh my God. It's such extreme things. Like, what else could it be?
Exactly. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
They did end up giving him medication. They talked about this briefly as well at the end, saying that he was going to hopefully get better. But the narrator said that even though his episodes may have decreased a little bit, they're still happening.
Did they say what kind of medication? Because I'm wondering.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think they did.
What it would like, what part of the brain it's tapping into.
Yeah.
In order to help it.
Right.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
They just said medication. That's honestly all I remember. Again, did not write that down. This is all memory, y'all.
Don't write it down.
What is even on my paper? Okay. All right.
It's blank.
I'm staring at the wall. Don't worry. Okay. So yeah. And that was his story. And that's kind of where it left off. Cause there's not a lot that they could have determined.
How difficult just to have a normal, typical life.
It really isn't.
Have doctors just say, sorry.
Yeah. And I think that's really the frustrated part because the doctors also said that they weren't sure what was triggering the episodes and exactly, saying that it wasn't sleep paralysis and thought maybe it was this or that. Like they still couldn't even cut it dry. They couldn't even pinpoint what the issue was. So how can you... If you can't even properly diagnose it almost. Like they just said it's probably an extreme form of sleepwalking, but I think it's probably a different category at this point. I don't know.
I feel like it has to be because what he is experiencing, like they said, is just so rare.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that you're just left with, well, because it's so rare, there's not a lot of data on it.
And you're one of the first, so you know how that goes.
Sorry.
Yeah, until we figure it out, you're...
Right, we can't really do much.
Right. So that's it. That's where it kind of left off with his story. Now here's some story. These are random ones that I found online that I thought were pretty, I don't know, just enjoyable. So here we go. Okay. I'm actually going to read it directly. And I kind of wish I reread them before I printed it because I did not adjust any spelling. So here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Oh man, I didn't even write down who it's from. The names are so obscure, I don't even know.
Just from some person on the internet.
It's a human being who wrote this.
A human on planet Earth.
From, as far as I know, said, quote, I've been suffering from sleep paralysis on a regular basis for almost 3 years, usually 1 or 2 times a week at the moment. It was much worse in the beginning. Most of the time, I see someone in the corner of the room coming slowly towards me, or even some kind of goblin creature climbing from the window to get into my room. No. The scariest hallucination was one time when I fell asleep on the couch and woke up in some sort of forest.
What?
There was a whitish mist and dark trees everywhere, and there was something breathing heavily behind me. Yeah, that's not even cute.
Shut it down.
Couldn't do anything, of course. Thought I was tied up or something.
What?
Sorry. I loved how they ended that story.
Oh, that's it?
That was it.
Thought I was tied up or something.
Oh, something. I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
The end.
Okay. Well,
They could write cliffhanger kind of movies, I think. So.
I mean, I am intrigued. I would like to know more.
I have many questions. To say the least.
A lot of questions.
Yeah. So here's another riveting story.
Ooh.
So try to lucid. I remember why I did this. Okay. Try to lucid dream for months. Do you know what lucid dreaming is?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you know that a lot of people do this on purpose?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So that's kind of what this story is about. And I thought I'd include this because sleep paralysis is such a big topic. It has so many factors and things that like people think. And I forgot to mention, I thought I was supposed to tell you what a lot of people interpreted sleep paralysis to be. Remember, before I get into the story, you said, what did I say?
Do I remember? No,
that was
I do not.
It was 2 wine glasses ago.
Yeah,
so
that was a while ago.
But I said like there was different interpretations across cultures, like what they think it is.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna go off my brain because I didn't write this down either.
Let's do it.
Some of them think it's like goblins, shadowy. So the shadow man is probably the number one that people see a lot.
Yep,
with see that
one a lot
with the old hag. So those are the two that I was talking about that seem to just be. No matter where they're from, they see a shadow figure.
Okay. The old hag I've never heard.
And the old hag. Oh, really?
Never heard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
the old hag is pretty common.
And I'm imagining you're talking about literally like what you kind of conjure up in your brain an old hag
like just like an old woman that looks kind of like evil and
Oh, this is like the witch. No, the sorceress. The sorceress from. Oh, you didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Oh no, I did not.
Her name was the Red Witch, I believe. If you are a Game of Thrones fanatic, please don't come at me. I'm trying my best. Red Witch. She was a sorceress. Anyways, I don't want to say too much or reveal things, but. Yeah, there's one point where you're like, oh, she's looking like an old hag.
Yeah, so that's the old hag thing that I'm talking about. So yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen an old hag.
Really?
Like
of all the creatures you've seen.
Of all the creatures that I've seen, I've never seen, it's very rarely women.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if that's a thing. I don't know, because there was Jamie who said that she saw a man and a woman.
Man and a woman, that's right.
And then we have, and then we have like the indistinguishable ones where the mist and stuff. So I guess it really depends. But despite that, and these were kind of stories that were extreme from one to the other, which is why I included them in the story. But if I was going to read story after story after story of all the ones I read, honestly, there would have been a ton of the Shadow Man and an old hag, or kind of a demon creature. So that's kind of the third one as well.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy one. Yeah, and they're just from different countries, which is wild to me.
That is.
Now, if I really go back into history and like really realize that we all come from a huge mesh of like cross cultures from like the beginning of time, obviously.
Yeah.
There's going to be some things that may transfer and different interpretations. But when sleep paralysis occurs, why these three?
Right, yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Why do our brains kind of default
to like a shadow man, which probably is the number one?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like not even...
Oh, yes, I know. I've seen them many times.
Right. Okay. So you know what I'm saying? And like, why not default to something that's probably stronger in your culture that is scary?
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's with lucid dreaming.
Okay.
And lucid dreaming is like I said, if in case anyone doesn't know out there, it's when someone tries... so when it happens to you without trying, it's when you're kind of sleeping, but you're still aware of your surroundings. Yeah. You're not necessarily asleep, but you're not awake. And it doesn't really bother you usually because you're just trying to fall asleep, honestly. And then you're kind of having weird hallucinations. That's lucid dreaming.
And this is lucid dreaming the stage before REM?
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes like that's like the only time you can probably be self-aware that you are dreaming.
Okay.
So you can kind of play with it. So you can control it.
Interesting place to be in your mind.
Very interesting. And so people who try to practice lucid dreaming, there's like a lot of exercises you can do to get there. It's the idea because they want to be able to control their dreams and kind of basically live in a weird fantasy world to kind of play with their mind. That's why people practice lucid dreaming, from what I understand.
So it's almost kind of like real life video games.
Kind of, yeah. So just physically feel like you're in there in a different world. Right. So this is what this person is doing.
Okay.
Tried to lucid dream for months. Did all the right things. Kept a dream journal. Checked for dream signs, etc.
Okay.
One night, I finally found out I was dreaming. I remember being so overjoyed I was dreaming. I woke up. People say to stay calm when you realize you're dreaming, or else you can enter into sleep paralysis. That I didn't know. I wasn't sure that you could just really F it up, but I guess you can. Whoops, she said. They say. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but I saw a shadow darting around the room. Ooh.
Darting. I don't love that.
Oh, that's quick. Yeah.
I'm over here now. No, I'm over here. You can't catch me.
Can't get this shadow.
Fast as fuck.
And heard a witch cackling at the foot of the bed. Okay, see, now we have the double again.
Oh, cackling.
Yeah.
Oh.
I even felt the pressure of the bed shift as she sat up by my feet. Ooh, no. See, again, the different pressure because it's not even on her body.
Right. Yeah, it's just like it's around you what you're feeling.
Yeah. So how's that brain interpreting that? I don't know. I experienced this for about half an hour until I forced myself to go to sleep to make it stop. So she actually went the other direction instead of trying to wake up, which is interesting.
Instead of waking up and like for sure supposedly ending it.
Right.
She went, let's go deeper.
Let's let's do something wild.
Full steam ahead.
There's no stopping this train.
Choo choo
Choo choo.
Chugga 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 chugga.
That's the last time we'll hear that train, I'm sure. So she says, worst fucking time of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Never try dreaming again or lucid dreaming again. So yeah, I guess
didn't explain like what happened after they went further into dreaming.
No, I think she just like it stopped it.
So it stopped. Okay.
So for me, when I read this, it just had a lot, many questions.
Yeah.
But it made me think maybe lucid dreaming or a certain state in the mind when you get there allows things to enter. Like if it is paranormal.
Oh,
it leaves you open.
Like your brain, your guard is kind of down.
Yeah.
Because in our day-to-day lives, we have assumptions about things. We have perimeters and boundaries that we put up.
Yeah.
Just so we can function as humans, you know, pretty kind of standard.
And filter. Like we're constantly filtering our environment to survive.
Exactly. We have a lot of control.
Right.
And so it sounds like this lucid dreaming, you kind of get into a state where during sleep paralysis, what have you, you're getting into a state of just that control. That sense of control isn't necessarily there, but you're more of an observer.
Yeah. So it's just very, I don't know. And like, it's very intense, this whole sleep paralysis thing. Like I said, I could find you way more stories about the shadow man than anything else at this point. And a lot of people even say that it's not the shadow man, it's aliens. Like honestly, it goes through different
aliens.
Yes, because when people are being abducted, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I think that they tend to paralyze you, and people. When I say people, scientists tend to think that's sleep paralysis. You're actually having hallucinations, and yours is manifesting in an abduction kind of form. And so that's where a lot of that happens. And I'm sure Chase will eventually talk about that because he tends to do the close encounters kind of thing. And was that supposed to be was that supposed to be X-Files?
Yeah, I think everybody definitely picked up on that.
I'm pretty sure they all died inside.
The first second they're like, oh yeah, that's the X-Files.
Sure,
that's a pretty rendition.
Exclusive copywritten by Hair of the Werewolf.
So it's like a bad 80s version.
Oh my.
That was good.
But to end that on that note, I'm done with my story, and I feel like I can probably do a whole nother episode about this, talking about the different other people, and just honestly, this is a never ending source of material.
Yeah, and I'd be curious the people that we talked about, because this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of a follow-up of especially the individual that took medication. Like, how's the impact been there? The individual who I think was living at the church and,
Yeah.
investing
Ted,
investing himself in that. I am curious as to what have the outcomes been? What have their
Where are they
experiences?
now? Yeah.
Where are they now?
The true Hollywood. Sorry. Do you remember those?
God, True Hollywood. They must have made it so dramatic too.
It was so, and you're like, oh, they're just decided to raise a family. Like, it wasn't even dramatic.
Right. They're like, oh, okay, they're humans and
they're just
people
hanging out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, they decided to become a writer instead of a superstar.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh, what?
Such a wild turn.
They're still living in Hollywood. Tell me more.
Tell me more. Well, this all makes me think about, because I've had a lot of different experiences myself. With just creatures and entities and feeling things around me and hearing things, or at least I think I'm hearing things. And especially the one where I saw something when I was younger in middle school, and I was sharing a room with my mom, and I saw something in her bedroom. I saw a person standing there. And head to toe, like their exact outfit, I saw it all. And I saw it for months, every night, and they were just standing there.
Yeah.
And then years later, in my early 20s, I actually met this individual in real life, and head to toe, it was exactly what I'd seen in my closet for years. How do you explain that? So
the only way, and I think we actually included this story in the listener episode.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
You are not mistaken.
Good. I'm not hallucinating. So.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. No, so I think what Chase and I were talking about at the time, and it was just a theory because, this whole thing is wild just in general. Maybe it was kind of not necessarily a ghost or anything, but maybe an apparition, like a portal to the future, something like a I don't know, like you can almost see into the future. It was just an image. It was like obviously this person that you said you met later ended up not really being a huge factor in your life, but it was at one point.
It was at one point.
It was a turning point.
Yes, they played they did play in a significant role during that time period of my life, and they helped with me learning really important life lessons.
Yeah.
So I think there's some significance there. But also when I was younger, and this is about middle school age, when I was seeing this individual, it was only at the house that we lived at the time. And then when we moved, I just didn't see them anymore. It was done.
So again, just because we've talked about this in past episodes, in past episodes that you might not have obviously been here for, because you weren't, but you might not have.
You didn't invite me.
It's a very exclusive club.
Sorry.
That we record at like 3 a.m. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm asleep, so.
Most people are. Now, okay, so one of the theories we had, because we were thinking about that too, is maybe it wasn't necessarily you who was producing this energy, but that place that you were staying at, what happens in past episodes anyway, when certain things like this occur, is that there's an energy, there's like a portal.
That's something that already exists there.
It's on that property specifically, or it could be attached to something that was in the house that is allowing these things to occur. So if you're sensitive or you're able to like connect with it in some fashion, you're able to manifest your own perspective of what the portal can provide. Yeah. So either it does it on its own, like, a demon comes through and you're like, hey, what's up? Or
which I appreciate it not doing.
I really appreciate that. Or it could be like an image, like something from your future, so you're able to kind of see because you're already sensitive to something like that. And that's just a theory that we've had in different stories in the past. So
and that's the thing is, I feel like that makes a lot more sense than trying to explain it from you saw this person somewhere else, because that's like, you think about it within our dreams, right? And when we dream about being around other people, and in our dreams we're like, we have no idea who these people are,
right?
That's actually images of people in real life that you did see.
That you didn't even know you were consciously remembering.
Right, like you're at the grocery store and you're looking at people. Your brain like kind of saves what they look like. Yeah. And they fill your dreams with that.
Despite what you think you can't remember, your brain will. You just have to practice on how to recall that information.
Yeah, but in this case, I'd literally never seen this person because this person at the age that I was at and at the age that they were at, because they were an adult, what I was seeing.
You were literally seeing the future because they were not adult.
They were not adults.
They were your age.
Right.
You know.
We were completely different states. Like it's very hard to explain from, as much as I want to, it's just hard to explain from a scientific perspective.
How do you explain that?
Because I like to remain, I love looking at all the options and thinking like, oh, all the possibilities. Yeah. But it's hard to, it's definitely hard to explain this way from a academic and scientific perspective.
Exactly.
It makes you think, what is out there then?
And it's not something you would forget easily either.
No, it's burned in my memory.
Right. And so when you saw it, you're like, this is just like everyone else in the story. It's very traumatic. You just don't forget this.
So, and that one was, it didn't interact with me. It was just there.
Right.
Just there, just chilling, didn't move,
and
nothing.
See, to me, that makes it more of like a portal to the future.
Totally.
Honestly, because like, if it wanted to interact, it would have. Why would it waste so much energy to exist if it wasn't going to interact, unless it was just an image of something that hasn't manifested? Exactly. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Whereas others that I've had have, like, there's movement involved. But I would, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of it, there isn't a ton of movement involved. Oh, really? I've had those experiences where the entities, creatures, whatever it is that I'm seeing, they'll move, but for the most part, it's just they're over me and they're just watching me.
That's so wild to me.
And sometimes it's from a protective standpoint, but most of the time not that it's evil, but it doesn't feel right.
It feels a little intrusive, I guess. Yeah,
very intrusive.
A little bit. And
also it's scary. There have been many times I wake up in a panic and I'm terrified because of the thing I just saw.
Have you ever been able to see whatever it is you're seeing when you're moving, or is it always when you're kind of like in a still sleeping, paralyzed kind of state?
Yeah, good question. A little bit of both. Like I see it the most when I'm like laying there and then I open my eyes and I don't think I'm necessarily paralyzed, but I'm more so trying to process what's happening. Like, okay. And it's also a little bit of, well, maybe if I don't move, it won't see me.
Oh, wow. So you don't even feel restricted. You're just like
I'm just kind of like.
You're trying to Jurassic Park it. You're like, no,
yeah.
Maybe if the T-Rex isn't. Yeah.
I'm not here.
Because why else would it be there?
Yeah. And it definitely takes my brain a while to kind of recognize what's going on. What's interesting is there have been a handful of times where, like with lucid dreaming, you're awake, but you are dreaming, but you're aware you're dreaming. And this was kind of more like, okay, I'm aware that I'm dreaming and what I'm seeing is not real, but I can't actually believe that. I can't totally sink in because it feels so real. So it's been interesting to hear
so scary.
What other people's experiences have been and just the varying degrees of different interactions. And some of them are horrific.
These, again, like I said, they're very extreme situations.
Yeah.
And the documentary I watched did just such a phenomenal job of doing this that I had to like tell the stories. Now I had like other information that I got from different websites, like, the scientific portions that I was able to somewhat answer, or at least like come up with. But in the end, it was just mostly from there because it took it to another level. And like I said, the two last stories that I provided, those are the more or less the common ones where like, oh, I didn't know what happened. Anyways. Which is still like traumatic, but these are people who are like it's a condition. It's like suffering.
Well, it's a constant theme that is having such a huge negative impact on your day-to-day life. And just being able to just function in a fashion that is not weighed down by things you can't control.
And it hurts and it's painful and it's just...
And it's very real. Were you ever touched?
You personally? Like, have you ever... Like, maybe the sheets were pulled away or something?
I feel like it has happened, but I'm not, I feel like it was me. I'm not convinced it was something else. I've had the sheets below my feet kind of rustle around, move a little bit, shift a little bit. But I've never felt that I can recall, being a few glasses of wine in, that I've been touched in any way like that.
Okay.
But I definitely, when you feel a presence, you can sometimes feel it on your skin.
Yeah.
But you're not being touched.
I know what you mean though.
It's so powerful and potent that it feels like you do have that skin to whatever touch.
Sensitivity, like tingling or something. Yeah.
I've had that for sure, but the actual touching, it's hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's. I mean, that to me already is wild enough. I hope I never even have that kind of experience.
And there are some times where you truly believe it, like with the creature, and I'm calling it Dobby because it looked like an adult version of Dobby at the end of my bed. Like with the the sack and all.
Yeah. Oh my God, really?
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, like the sack that he's wearing when he was still a house elf and he wasn't free.
Yeah.
Just adult version, grown version, almost
giant
5'8".
Dobby.
He wasn't he was big for, being an elf. Anyways.
Sure. More like a troll at this point.
Yeah, right, kind of. But gangly and just almost like
no. Slenderman? No, because they have a big head.
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly.
Like Nosferatu, kind of. Like Nosferatu and Dobby got together. They had a good old time. And then 9 months later, hello.
Boom, giant.
Nosferatu. But yeah, that at the end of my bed, I vividly remember, I was convinced he was in my room.
See, I remember you talking about that because I feel like even though you've told me that you've had some sort of night terrors or other experiences, this one seems to really stand out in your head.
It stands out a lot in my head just because of when I opened my eyes and what I saw. It was there. It was there. I felt its presence. I felt it staring at me as you would when somebody else that's human is in a room.
Yeah.
You just feel that. You know what that feels like. And even when I got up and I'm like, what are you doing here? How did you get in here? I'm saying all these things. It felt like I'm having this interaction. I mean, it's just me talking.
Yeah.
And then I just snap out of it. Snap out because I was screaming and saying all these things, and it was well after bedtime, and my nephew was there, and and he comes running down the hall and banging on the door, Lisa,
so he can hear this. So
he heard me,
right? So that anyone out there who's hearing the story, this is actually happening, and it wasn't just in your head. You know how you wake up and you thought you were crying and then you weren't crying the whole time?
Right, yeah. No, I was screaming, I was saying things, and my nephew ran down the hall and banging on the door, Lisa, are you okay? Are you okay?
Right.
And that's what snapped me out of it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, but where did it go? Is it, I feel like it's still here.
Really, yeah. So this is turning out to be a very long episode, which I'm okay with because we kind of
we had a lot to say.
We have a lot to say. I had a lot of material. We're hilarious. And
most importantly, we're a goddamn riot.
Everything we say is gold.
You've been entertained from start to now, so you're welcome.
I'm not saying I'm ending the episode right now because I think, in my personal experience, especially since I missed last week, this is a 2-for-1er right here.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, just all this material that we're having for you tonight.
Just throwing it at you.
Throwing it in your face. And I want to talk about very quickly. Now, if you guys want to stop listening, that's totally fine. I hope you guys have a very good night.
Yeah, bye.
We're
See you later.
Now going to talk about a personal experience that you've had in your house, if you're willing to share.
Oh, in my own house.
Yeah, in your casita.
Is that what that's called?
Yes. And
casita.
Casita.
Casita. So in my casita. God, that's so awful.
Oh, that sounds really strange.
That sounds really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Dobby incident happened at my house, but it happened in our...
I'm pouring some wine.
Girl, get your wine on. Do you want? Yeah, what a silly question. Asking me if I want wine. Okay, easy. Oh boy, woo-wee. Having ourselves a good time. All right, I'm getting seasickness from you going back and forth.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what I'm doing here. Just have the rest. Oh, okay, it's just a few drops. I don't know it's a heavy bottle, okay? And I spilled on my notes that I'll never read again.
Well, I mean, we might as well just give up now.
Might as well just drink. Here you go. Cheers.
Cheers. Dink. Oh, that hits the spot.
Why do you do that before I swallow? It's really difficult. Every time I'm like, it's going to happen, I'm going to like spit it all over our equipment. Oh my. Okay. So back to the story.
Yeah, the Dobby story. That happened at our house, but it happened in the master bedroom. And I say that, make that distinguishment. Nope, that's not the right word.
Distinction?
Distinction.
Yes.
Look at you.
There's a glass of wine there. That's the trick.
It's, you know what, kids? Glasses of wine. It's amazing what modern science can do.
Well, you're going to get me sued.
Probably. Please don't take our advice.
Never.
So our guest bedroom, we've had some interesting things happen. So when we first moved in, so it was about a year ago, almost now at this point.
It's really been that long.
I know.
Damn.
I know. We're in a time vortex at this
really
point,
are.
it seems like.
It really is. All right.
So my nephew, so this kind of happened around the same time as when I saw Dobby. So my nephew one day took a shower in the spare bathroom that we have, our guest bathroom. And we got out, you know, because steam from the showers, it steams up the mirrors.
Always.
He found some writing in the mirror. And we couldn't understand the language. It was some type of Asian language,
Chinese, something.
maybe Chinese.
Yeah.
We weren't sure. So that felt weird, seemed strange. But
a little bit.
A little bit.
No one I know currently speaks, I mean, at the very least in your house, speaks
right.
Chinese or anything like that.
Yeah, not us.
Any dialect.
Exactly.
Right.
So we took a picture of it, and I sent it to some friends who might know people who might be able to translate it. Turns out it was Mandarin, and it was something along the lines of like Happy New Year's. Okay. No big deal.
Yeah.
Like one of maybe the previous owner.
Was it the Chinese New Year at the time, or was it New Year's? I don't even remember when this happened.
No, this happened during the summer.
Oh my. Okay. Well,
so this could have been from the just previous New Year's.
Because you just moved in, you don't know.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Didn't think anything of it. And that's probably what happened, and it means nothing.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. But we've had some other weird things happen in our guest bedroom and around it as well. We had a friend staying with us, and where our office is just down the hall. And one day I was talking to that friend, and he was standing in the guest bedroom doorway. So we're, having a conversation.
Yeah.
And then he walks away. I put my headphones on because I'm working. And then all of a sudden I hear, Chris, the food's here.
What a strange
Well, first of all,
phrase.
our friend, his name is not Chris. Nobody in our house.
No, your name's not Chris. Your boyfriend's name's not Chris. No one is Chris.
Nobody is named Chris.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. So I take my headphones off and I say, what?
I mean, what else is there?
Confused.
The fuck?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Because none of us had talked about ordering food or anything like that.
Right.
And then I hear clear as day, Chris, the food's here.
Again?
You
heard it twice?
I heard it twice.
I heard this word. I thought it was just like the one. And
I heard it twice.
That is so messed up.
And I'm so confused at this point. So I get up because I thought, our friend was in the hallway and he was just like, messing around. So
doing something weird.
Yeah. So I get up and I look in the hallway and nobody's there. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
And so I go to look for our friend and my boyfriend, and they're outside and they're cutting tile and working on tile to retile our living room floor. I was like, hey, what? I'm like, haha, very funny, you guys. Did we order food? Like, what's going on? And they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, somebody said, Chris, the food's here. And they're like, okay.
Like, what are you
talking about? So that's one of those things like, okay, kind of weird.
And it's especially weird. So, like some people can be like, oh, maybe you heard it from outside. There's an echo. Was a window open?
Yeah.
I'm guessing none of that occurred. Like a window was not open.
No, right. Because then I thought maybe it's like neighbors, but you can't really hear. I mean, we don't have like triple paned windows by any means.
Right. You're not the most updated windows. Right.
We got old school crank windows. I mean, what's up?
Same girl. Like we have old windows. I get it. But I'm not hearing people say
exactly
in my house these
and
things.
Not close enough.
Well, you have your headphones.
Exactly.
Right.
I had my headphones in and not close enough to anybody else where the office was that when I did say like what,
right,
somebody would repeat themselves.
And especially like if it was loud, it would have to be like a screaming kind of tone.
Right. And it wasn't. It was
just normal.
Just very normal. Nobody was elevating their voice or amplifying their voice or anything. Just very casual. Chris, the food's here.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Right. It's kind of strange. Like, all right.
So those are, as we learned during our other episodes, it's the residual haunting is what we would call something like that.
Yes. There's been other things where, Chase has stayed at the house to watch Willow while you and I have gone out of town.
Willow is her dog.
Willow is my dog. I shouldn't assume that everybody knows Willow. I love her. And I'm like, yeah, everybody knows Willow.
We all do. Despite my allergies, I wish I could just curl up with Willow every time.
Oh, she's so soft.
Yeah.
But Willow, she's very gentle.
Very.
She's very gentle. She doesn't bark at anything. She's very docile. But I guess when Chase was staying there, she would look up at the guest bedroom.
She's very alert.
Very alert.
I've never seen her alert, to be honest.
That's like, it's very strange. And then at one point she got off the couch and like walked towards the guest bedroom. And I believe she barked at one point.
He said like, as much as a bark can come out of her.
She's not a barker. I'm here.
I was like, hi.
Hello. Just don't do anything weird.
I've acknowledged you. Stay away.
Please stay away.
Yeah.
So that was it's kind of creepy and strange because she doesn't really do that. Yes, it could be. I mean, this was at night.
It was at night again.
It was at night again. This is, the Chris, the food's here. That was during the day. So that was strange. That was at night. Yeah, it could be birds. It could be what have you, but
it could have been like a little mouse on the window trying to tap in.
Exactly.
Anything really,
Well, and I've had another friend who stayed in that room and they swear they saw something outside the window.
So I remember
that
it was a shadow person. Yeah, but outside, right?
I was like standing outside the window because of where our house is and where the guest bedroom is positioned. There's a street light, and so it doesn't shine into the room.
You would see something cast if it was in front.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they saw something, and my boyfriend, the champion that he is, he went outside and checked it out and made sure there's some creepo and didn't see anything. So it could have been somebody who and they ran away. Right. A lot of things to explain it.
Yeah. But this is a lot of happening in one room.
Yeah. But then one night when I was by myself and I didn't have any night terrors or anything, but like I said, Willow's not a barker.
No.
But I was by myself. It was just me and Willow. And in the middle of the night, she gets up and just starts barking at the window that's next to the guest bedroom window.
Oh, really?
Just barking at it. And she doesn't do that at all. That's
Again,
not her
never
thing.
heard that. I never heard her bark. I don't even know what it would sound. I mean, I know what dogs sound like, but
right.
They all have kind of their own style and I've never heard her bark. I have no idea.
Yeah, and she was staring hard at the window like, Mom, there's something there.
To me, that's an extreme situation.
Yeah.
I think. Because even when she first met me, she didn't bark. And usually dogs who are like, kind of excited, they'll do something.
Yeah.
And acknowledge it, like, someone's here, bark, bark, bark. But
she seems to sense things. I've had a different friend who stayed in this room. And
the guest bedroom, right?
The guest bedroom, yes. The guest bedroom. And they described it as somebody that was continuously throughout the night sitting on the bed and then getting off. And then sitting and then getting off. And then sitting and then getting off.
I thought it was a one time.
It happened multiple times. It kept going.
And if I recall, she's a hardcore skeptic, right?
Yeah, well, and she she had told me she's always on her bucket list is to experience something of the paranormal.
Because she just didn't think it would happen.
Right.
Usually when people say that, they're like, I mean, because obviously it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So that night, the first night that she stayed in there, that happened. I mean, she could have been tired and jet lagged and what have you. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting how it all seems to combine. And we've had other people
put it all together.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had other people who've stayed in there and they're like, I don't love this room. Just doesn't feel great.
I feel so awful now because I feel like I don't even have a speck of sensitivity about that.
Yeah.
Because when I walked into your house, I was like, this is so cozy.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
And I walked in all the rooms, didn't feel anything. In fact, I was trying to. I'm like, oh, maybe there's some bad energy. I can tell her. I was like, this place is great. And it's just like,
and what's interesting is I've never felt scared of my own house.
Good.
There's been other houses where I admit this about myself. I am that person that when I turn the lights off, I run. Yeah. I run to the bedroom.
I'm so the opposite.
Just in case.
Yeah. I'm actually, so I'm not saying that I'm not scared or like a little concerned, but what I do is if I turn off the light and I feel kind of scared, I'm like, fine, fucking do it. And so I'll literally stand there for a few seconds.
Oh my God.
And then I'll walk away slowly like,
I love this about you. Love this energy. It's just so like, fight me, ghost.
But literally, I'm screaming inside. But but I purposely do it because I'm like, Lily, get it fucking together. If something's going to happen, it'll happen. Lights or no lights.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I know like, and I wonder how much of it plays into my night terrors that I experience. And so at night, it's already kind of a scary experience for me when I'm going to bed.
Right.
And so
that's fair.
Right. But anytime I'm by myself, I'm never scared of my own house. More so than just my normal baseline of like, ooh, the dark is scary.
Yeah. And you're alone, especially if like your boyfriend is traveling or something like that.
Exactly.
So I 100% agree. And the funny thing is like, again, going back to Chase, when he stayed there, when he first walked into your house, he actually felt something.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that until like a few days later. I don't even know why he didn't tell me right away. Maybe he didn't want to like freak anyone out.
Right. Yeah.
Which makes total sense. He's kind of a skeptic. So he's like, why was that even a thing? He's like, was there a gas leak and I'm just like hallucinating something?
Yeah.
But which actually, if anything, he should have said something even quicker.
But way to be selfish.
He's like
Chase.
black mold.
Yeah.
No, but so when he told me that, I was like, really? And he's like, the hallway, something like right in the beginning of the hallway. And this is before he knew it was really the guest bedroom, which is
right near kind of like the beginning
entrance
of the hallway.
Yeah, he said that kind of general area.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of like been conscious about it.
Yeah.
And like, so for example, like if everyone's hanging outside and I'm like, oh, I have to pee, like I have to go down the hallway.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I feel anything? And I kind of like, walk forward and walk back and I'm like, And I personally have not had anything yet. Either it's building up or I'm just not sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be one or the other, I think.
Yeah. I've felt over time, I have definitely felt something.
Yeah.
Nothing major, but definitely. So the guest bathroom is directly across from the guest bedroom. Mm-hmm. And anytime I walk by that area in the hallway, I definitely just like feel like a little amplified.
Like I just like,
and then it goes away.
Push you away, like, or something. Maybe
it just feels like
is it a push away or push in?
No, it's just I feel something. I'm just aware.
Oh, okay.
I'm just aware of some energy or some kind of relationship between the bathroom and the bedroom and something maybe that happened at this house. I don't know.
Yeah,
some interesting, nothing wild and crazy because I've heard and seen other things that happen, but it's one of those things where it's when I saw Dobby, and this is like right when we first moved in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was the creature, the entity that lives there was just like, well, hey girl, welcome.
And then you freaked out. He's like, all right, I'll keep it in the bedroom.
I'll see you in the guest bedroom.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Again,
it'll be so dramatic.
If they feel the need to pay rent at any point, that'd be pretty amazing.
Truly, by all means, you're welcome to stay. I just would love a few bones tossed my way.
little bit, even to Willow, play with Willow.
Play with Willow.
She's a treat.
She is just such a ray of sunshine. Love that dog.
Love. Aw. Well, I'm really glad you were able to share your story with us. And
me too.
That was just kind of like a little bonus thing at the end, which surprisingly really tied in with my story. Again, this was so not planned, guys. Like, you have again, did not plan Chase's gallbladder surgery.
No, did not.
His absence and your availability to be here. And
it
obviously,
all just kind of was very serendipitous. Okay.
It
was
serendipitous.
all very serendipitous. Something about syrup. I don't know.
Syrup. It's all about the syrup.
It's all about that scissor. Right? That's a cool way to say it.
Bringing that back.
What are you talking about? It never left.
It's so slow.
It is.
It's like molasses.
It's like molasses.
Oh my.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. Okay. Well, I want to thank our listeners for hanging in there.
Guys, well done. High fives.
High fives.
High fives all around.
There we go.
Solid.
And of course, if you guys are listening and happen to enjoy a few glasses of wine with us or any other little drinks you might have had, thank you. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you had a little too much fun the night before, well, then don't worry, because the best cure for a hangover,
it's fear.
Bye.
Bye.